Hey guys, I'm Amit, welcome to CSS Escapism. So in the last live session we built this Christmas tree, and it's kind of nice. When you click on it, all the snowflakes start to fly around for a while and then they fall down. But I didn't have time to add a star on top of the tree, so give me 5 minutes and let's add a star. We're actually going to start in a completely blank project. We're going to start with the HTML. We're just going to add a simple div with a class of star, and because each star has 5 points or triangles or whatever you want, we're going to add 5 elements inside of it. I'm using I elements, you can use whatever elements you want. So let's go to the CSS, and inside the CSS we'll have a class selector of star, and we're going to give it a position of relative because I want the I elements inside of it to be positioned absolute relative to that star. So let's select the I elements and give them a position absolute, and just so we can see it, let's add the width and the height and the background color. So this little rectangle, this is the eyes, and I'm using EMs as a units because I'm using EM in the other project, and I'm generally using EM because it's nice. You can just set the font size and then everything changes accordingly, like bigger or smaller. So this is like 50 pixel or 80 pixel or 120 pixels. Yeah, let's leave it at 120 pixels. But now we can see that the rectangle is not actually centered, so let's center it by adding a negative left. Great. And the next thing that we need to do is actually turn this rectangle into a triangle, and we're going to do it by using a clip path, a simple clip path of a polygon with 3 points. 0, 0 is the top left point, 100% 0 is the other side, so it's the top right corner, and 50% 100%, so it's 50% on the x-axis, 100% on the y-axis, so it's the bottom point. So now we have a nice little triangle. Actually we have 5 triangles, they're all positioned absolute, on one on top of the other, and the next thing that I need to do is to transform them, to translate, rotate them, and so on. But before we can add a transform, there's a few things that we need to do. First, let's set the transform origin to top, so the pivot point, the center point, would be right here in the top center of this or the bottom of the triangle, this upside down triangle. And the next thing that we need to do, because I want to rotate each one of those triangles on a different angle, I want to set a different angle to each one of those triangles. And the first one is easy. Let's select nstyled 1 and give it an angle of 0. But the second one, because we have 360 degrees in the circle divided by 5 triangles, so it's 72 degrees, we're going to give the second one a 72 degrees angle, and we're going to add 72 degrees to each one of the child. So the third one would be 144, the fourth one would be 216, and the fifth to 228. So that's great. Now we can actually use this angle inside of this transform. We're just going to add a rotate of this variable, and now we're getting this weird shape. But if we're going to add a translate y, a negative translate y, we can actually start seeing something that looks like a star. Okay, now the original scene is always rotating, the tree is always rotating, so to imitate this rotation, let's add a simple animation of rotate to the star. We're gonna delete it afterwards, just so we can see the star like so from all directions. And now we can actually add inside of this transform rotate x of 35 degrees, so now the points of the triangle are just pushing forwards and we have just more depth to the star, and it's starting to look kind of nice. Let's change the color from this white, from this semi-opaque white to a gold, because you know it's a star, so let's do a gold star. And I'm also going to add a background image of a linear gradient from transparent to a dark color, just so we can see the different triangles inside of this star. And that's actually looking great, but just from one side. It doesn't look good from the other side. We need to do the same thing that we did to the front, to the back. We need to add 5 more triangles. So let's head to the HTML. We're going to add 5 more elements. So now we have 10 elements inside the star. And back to the CSS, we need to position those elements Now we can use like the same method we use here, like nstyle 6 and so on, 6 and 7 and so on, but we actually don't need to. What we can do is just add 5n plus. That means that every multiply of 5 plus this number, so this is 1, 6, 11 and so on. So let's do it to all of them. So now all of those elements are in place, but we do need to rotate them on the x-axis to the other direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to this rotate x, we're going to allow him to get a variable, an rx, and we're going to use the 35 degrees as a default, and then we're going to set this custom property just to the last 5 elements by using nstyled n plus 6 to a negative 35 degrees. So that's it. Now we have a star, a 3D star that looks great from every direction. So now what we can do, we can actually copy this code. Let's copy it and go to our project. Let's start with the HTML. In the HTML we said we need to add a star, and inside of the star I had a 10 elements. Great. And now in the CSS I can just copy the code we had. And now we can probably see the star, yeah, but it's pretty big. We don't need this animation, we don't need the font size. And the position, actually let's set the position to absolute and set the top, because I want it to be on the top of the tree, to minus 5.5 here. And yeah, this is how you add a star to the top of the tree. That's it. I hope you like it. See you next time.